Public hearing is still open, but I see no one coming to the mic, so I shall close public hearing at this time and ask the council members to please add any comment or.
Um, I support the study. I fully support, what you have all spoken about the alleys. I've discussed that. But without the study, we cannot identify and really verify what the alleyways are, who belongs to them, who they belong to, and who is responsible. We have alleys throughout the city, some are through people's yards that will never be used. Without a professional study, I don't know that we'll be able to find the information on these alleys. I've been asking, since I've been on the council, for repair of sidewalks and streets. And having homeowners associations pick a street here or there doesn't do it. Code enforcement and Public Works have not been able to cohesively sit down and give us a complete drawing of what is required in the city. We have so many sidewalks in disrepair, streets in disrepair, swales that may or may not belong to us. So I think the only way to fully determine what the shape of our alleys, our streets, our swales are is to have a professional go out street by street and let us know what it is. And that, I mean, even if we had staff do it, it would still be a cost for labor power for that, and this way we have professionals. So I support it because I would like to see improvements. I don't think we put enough money aside for improvements, but I think if we do have a comprehensive plan for it, we can allocate, we know we've got X amount of dollars necessary, we can put more money aside.
Thank you, Ms.
Mr. Mayor, can I say something?
Go ahead.
And you're talking about the study that include the alleyways? No.
Yeah, yes.
No.
That's
Does
two
it?
different.
Yeah, it's in there.
Just so
Alleyways.
I want to be clear.
Yeah.
It will include all of the city's right-of-way, which would include generally the alleys. But the issue that has been brought
Yeah,
forward
it's
is
clean.
a
It's different.
is a
The
cleaning
cleanup.
issue
Yeah, like
that we
landscaping,
will
yeah.
address. I assure you
Separate
we will address it separately.
Another thing, I'm not done yet. Another thing that, Mr. Manager, you need to mention for the residents, by doing so, we still doing the daily operation of the city. That means the street that need to be repaired, if we have money, we still gonna do it while we are waiting for the study. That's not gonna stop us from doing our daily operation when it comes to public works and all the other contracts.
Absolutely. We already have projects that are already in the pipeline. Those projects will be continuing forward like they are now. But this assessment gives us the tools, if you will, to really advance where we're going.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
Mr. Manager, since last year, I gave Public Works a plan for, specifically for the alleyways. Now, we spoke about it because I've been meeting with my homeowners and different folks, whatever that we need to do as a council, because it doesn't look good, not only for us, from a city, so I do have confidence that you will take this issue because it is urgent. Now, on the other topic that we have before us, Mr. Destrada, I have two questions for you. I don't have a problem with the study because I do know we need studies in order for us to get wherever that we're trying to get. But you gave us a proposal or whatever, something to vote on. Was this vetted the proper way, or did you just pick the firm from where?
Well, through the manager and through the mayor, Mr. Vice Mayor, this firm was selected, pre-qualified as a result of a pre-qualification solicitation process that was issued last year, March of 2015. So they were actually went through a selection process March of last year.
I would like to see that, and just for the public for the public transparency, we need to do that. We need to put that out there because the impression that I'm looking at, you asked me to vote on something. I don't have any document how this was this firm was selected. It's $176,000. Now you're telling me it's a year prior that this thing was selected for, which I don't have a problem with, but please be mindful. The public need to know, we up here voting need to know what was the process for the other firm, et cetera, et cetera. Mr. Manager, I don't like just giving something here, you gotta vote for this one, because it's not looking transparent to me at all. That's basically all. Would you be able to provide me with a copy of those documents?
Just for the record, Mr.
Yes.
Vice Mayor, if I'm not mistaken, I believe in your council report, there is information that, in the very first page,
In the packet.
that,
Right, I'm looking at the packet.
that describes exactly how this firm was selected, and in fact. it-
No, I saw that, but I wanna see the actual documents. Whatever your committee, whatever that you have. I read the report, that's why I'm asking the question.
We'll provide you with the solicitation.
Okay.
documents.
Okay, just to piggyback on what Vice Mayor just said, is this company considered a consultant, or is it?
This company is an engineering firm. They were selected, Mr. Mayor, through, again, a solicitation process, where various engineering firms applied, and they were one of the firms that were selected and pre-qualified. We have a pre-qualified list of consultants that were selected pursuant to this solicitation and in accordance with CCNA, which is the state of Florida guidelines for this matter.
So they're one of the companies that are part of our list of vendors.
That is correct.
But
yes.
I was told that these type of projects, you don't bid out these kind of projects. Is that for consultants?
Well,
So you go through the list and you go on the next?
exactly. This is
Well,
for,
Can I clarify something? There is a process.
Yeah.
There was a pre-qualification process that is
before.
governed
It's
by state statute that
But
develop-
considering only the list of vendors that we already have, no?
or anyone that applied.
From the outside?
From the outside.
Okay.
That resulted in the list of pre-qualified firms that we can use.
I
That we
remember,
can use.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, if you recall, when we did the vendor pool, I used to be part of it. The problem is when you're dealing with government, I understand the vendor pool process exactly, but if they were one of them, I just wanted to see, it could be the same document you presented, but there has to be something that shows to the public, to anybody, because right now it looks like you just picked this person. And, not you, but I'm just saying the administration just picked this firm that where we don't have the list of the other firms that are in the process, or if there's a list, well, this firm was selected first, just so that we'll be fair.
Sure,
So we
I
all will
understand.
know what's going on, because right now I don't. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Galvin?
No questions.
Mr. Clerk?
May I have a motion to approve tab D as is, please?
I move.
Second?
I have a motion made by Mayor Joseph to approve tab D as in dog as is. That motion was seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab E, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the fiscal year 2016 through 2017 action plan under the Community Development Block Grant and Home Investment Partnership Grant, homes, programs, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
For the record, Tanya Wilson Chajor with Community Planning and Development. I'll read the staff recommendation into the record. Staff is recommending that the council adopts the proposed resolution approving the proposed 2016-2017 annual action plan for final transmittal to U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. As the council is aware, the city of North Miami is an entitlement community, and because it's an entitlement community, it's required every year to prepare an annual action plan. Action plan basically outlines how the city intends to spend its allocation from HUD in housing and community development. So what you have before you is a proposed action plan for fiscal year 16-17. This year, the city of North Miami has a proposed allocation of $722,224 in CDBG funds and $209,186,000 in home home funding, a total of 931,410 is what's being projected for 16-17. That actually represents a 3% reduction from what we received last year. What you have in your packet as well is just a proposed budget based on the projected allocation the city will be receiving from HUD. You'll see a breakdown from the proposed administrative cost as well as economic development. Housing rehabilitation, of course, historically has always been the largest part of that budget projection. In total, you'll see an amount that's projected for CDBG and home totaling about $499,000. So staff is recommending that the council approve this action plan as prepared and give us the opportunity to be able to transmit to HUD so that we'll satisfy the requirements and get our allocation for 16-17.
That's it? Any public hearing needed? No? Yeah? Okay, anyone who wishes to be heard on the item, item E, about approving the action plan for the CDBG from the CP&D department. I know you don't have copies of the agenda, but they were posted online since last week. I see no one coming, so public hearing is closed. We'll ask the members of the commission, of the council, to please opine, comment,
I have just
ask
two
questions.
questions. I met with staff, but didn't have really time to look at it before I did that. What is the Home Community Housing Development Organization?
Home itself is Home Investment Partnership Grant. It's funding that's issued by the state. It's typically the smaller of the two allocations, CDB being the larger portion and home being the smaller portion that we receive as an entitlement community.
I'm talking line 7. Community housing.
Home Community Housing Development Organization. Your CHODO is an affordable housing developer. Entitlement communities are required to have 15% set aside to be able to partner with housing developer. In our case, the city has historically partnered with the Little Haiti Housing Association.
So do we have to spend that? I mean, have we spent it in the past?
It's required, and we have in the past. Typically, when the affordable housing developer finds a site within North Miami, it has to be within our city limits. That's a portion that's set aside to help leverage the redevelopment of that project for affordable housing.
Have we spent that in the last few years?
We have. We still have a balance remaining for the 15-16 year, and it has to be expended before the end of the fiscal year. But it has been expended in the past.
So we have somewhere to spend it? Or do we lose
They're
it?
required to find the site, and then we partner and put this fund towards the development itself. If it's not used, you lose it, is the way that it works.
And do we have to put that much in? If we haven't used it in the last couple of years, could we not better use it in another category?
It has to be 15% set
Okay.
aside.
Okay. And so, like the tenant-based rental, that's gonna help how many people?
It's tiny. It's usually 2 or 3.
2 people?
Yeah, in
And
terms
the
of the amount.
single-family home rehab program, how many people will that be helping?
That's usually one.
One person?
If it's not used, giving the housing price in this area, if it's not used, then it would roll back into the pot and be used for housing rehab.
That's gonna be for one house?
Hmm.
So is that for one person, or is that for the city to rehab a house?
It's usually for one person. If it's first time home buyers.
No.
I'm
Number
sorry.
eight-
So you're
line
looking at
8.
line 2 and 8.
Line 8, yes.
Okay, so both line 2 and 8, no, that's on average about 20 to 30 homes, based on that number that we have there.
So that's about 4,000.
In total, it's 499,000 is what we
Okay,
have
I'm
set
talking
aside
line
for
8.
rehab.
Okay, so it's 40 homes.
Mhm.
So
On
how,
average.
okay, so this is for the public, transparency. Who gets this money? How do the people know that the money is available? We had all kinds of lists over the years, list after list. Have the lists gone away? Are the lists starting again? We don't have to really go into detail this evening on how to do it, but before we start giving money away, I want to make sure that everybody gets a fair shake at this money, knows it's available, so it doesn't just go to a few favored people.
So the federal
we do that?
requirement says it has to be noticed. So the typical method that the city has used is to put it in the Miami Herald. It's advertised. We also have information that's posted. The notice itself is posted in City Hall as well as in our office. And then there is a period of funding availability. So if, for instance, it's September 1st or if it's October 1st, it's indicated that the funding is available as of this date. Given the fact that the amount is really only going to cover about 30 homes, it's first come, first served, first qualified is typically the method or the criteria that HUD looks for.
So what about people who do not read the Miami Herald? They're out of luck, or?
It's also on our website as an additional source. So website, in the building, public notice are the three methods that the city has typically used over the years.
What about Channel 77?
Channel 77 has the notices as well
Okay,
appearing there.
At least that would be good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But there is something that you need to mention. Last year on the 1st by 7:30, you have more than 160 people.
Correct, very good point.
Yeah.
So in reality,
Before we open,
correct.
and you have people online, and we only can serve about 30 people.
Correct. So the reality
That's-
that we face, and I'm glad that you mentioned that point, being an entitlement community, we recognize that we do get support and funding from the federal government. But being a city that is cost burdened at 60%, and I want to share that figure, the Census Bureau issues a number, and that number represents how many people in your city spend more than 30% of their income on housing expenditures. In North Miami, we know that the figure is 60%. That's a hard number. It tells you that 60% of your residents struggle to be able to pay whether mortgage, rent, or rehabilitate their housing unit. So at our doorsteps last year, we had 165 people show up, but as you just saw in the figures, you only have funding for 30. It's a major undertaking. We recognize the struggle that we have. The federal government funds can't address the burden that we have to address affordable housing in our city. The numbers just don't balance out.
But you have to give us credit for putting over 250,000
Well, that's what we
to
try.
the
Absolutely.
fund, to the budget.
I'll let
for
you
that.
say that. I'll let you
Yeah,
say that,
let us
Councilman.
say
I think the point the Councilman is making is that then the general fund becomes a secondary
A
source
secondary to
to
help out.
supplement the great demand that you have with limited supply of funding for affordable housing.
And Mr. Councilman, one of the things that and Tanya and I, we talked about this a lot, and Mr. Manager, we do need to go to DC. Something has to happen. We do we do realize the problem. I mean, it's a problem that we have. North Miami is a city that is, you have some part that's okay, and you have other parts that's not. That's the reality, like it or not. So if we only have 30 spot, and you get 165 people, not to say all 165 would be qualified, but at least 100 and something would be qualified. But to the point of what Councilwoman Keys was saying, to the fairness of the process, the thing that I did it with my office, the fund that I did speak to the housing manager as well as Tanya, if that could be a part of installing that in the process of selecting these folks, whoever the 160 may be, or whatever the number might be, once they qualify through the HUD guideline, that we do a lottery process where it's fair to everybody, in a lottery process that's open. Because once I came in, Mr. Manager, I took away whatever waiting list that they had for District 4, because I didn't want to be.
No, you didn't. I did.
No, you
I take away list.
Oh,
the
okay,
list.
well, good.
I'm the one that changed that.
Well, I kind of restated
No,
again.
not you. I changed it for
You-
you.
Oh, you changed it for me. Okay,
I
well,
changed
that's
it
good.
for
I'll
the
take the
entire
credit.
city.
Oh, is District 4, have
No,
they
for
changed
the-
District 3 yet?
When I was the mayor, I changed that for
You
everybody.
did?
Right.
Okay, then.
We stay away from this, right?
No,
We
there's a
used
pro-
to have lists for 8 years, 9 years. When I came in, we
Well,
changed
you
that.
didn't do it, Mr.
Every
Mr.
year you have a new list.
They have a list right now.
All right, kids.
so-
From last year,
Let one person
right?
speak at a time, please, so we
I
so
like
we can
I
move
like the
on.
lottery idea
Yes.
as opposed to lists.
Yeah, because the list, and I'm gonna let you speak. That's even when our previous city manager was there, and he liked the idea was at least it's fair, and that get us out of the list, because people would tell me they've been on a list for 10 or 5 years. The list will carry on, and unless, what I say to them, if the guideline are you need the list, then we need to be able to see on our website how other people, because we had an issue last year, Councilman, where somebody was on the list and the number changed. So that's my proposal. Thank you.
And I like the idea of the lotto, but at the same times, you do understand you have some real people in need.
On the
That's
emergency
mean
basis.
how you gonna select people who need to repaint their home based on a code violation, and someone else who have to put a bucket under the roof when it's raining. That's when I don't think we should just go in on a lottery, and some people gonna be in real need, some senior citizen, because and what you used to do is to go send an inspector and see where is the emergency, because some people it's an emergency for us to take in care of that, and some other people can wait. Some people they need impact windows. Imagine someone who need impact windows for beautification, they qualify, and you have a elderly without a roof. How are we gonna
Can I-
determine that? We
can
should
I-
be able to have to trust staff,
Well,
even if we're gonna do the
not
lotto,
really. Pretty much.
but at the same time, those
Yeah.
emergency people, we need to take in care of.
Well, all the points are very well taken, but I mean, it is obvious that we are not going to vote on that aspect tonight. So it is something that needs to be entertained,
Good.
and we
Yeah,
do
but
need-
yeah,
Hmm?
because, Mr. Mayor, I think it's important, because what Councilman,
No. I'm not. I never said that it wasn't important. Tonight we are not going to vote on whether it's going to be on a lottery basis versus
I think
first come first serve or a list. We are not voting on that aspect tonight. So I know we pretty much
that's what they thought.
3 members have spoken on the item, but Mr. Galvin hasn't. I don't know if you have anything to say or
That housing thing need to
Hmm?
be addressed maybe on a separate
yeah.
level. I mean,
Mr. Mayor, through you to Ms. Sejour, to the manager. The breakdown for public services, $108,000. It lists nonprofit CBOs and YOB program. What is the split between those two, and what is the YOB program in question? Is that the internship?
Yes, the Youth Opportunity Board it's typically administered through our Parks Department, where we have summer interns coming into the city. That's about 20,000 off that money, and then like 80,000 is set aside for your CBOs. That's the next agenda item.
Okay, and for the YOB program, are we paying those kids more than the minimum wage? Are we paying them the flat minimum wage? Does anybody have to know off the top of their head?
No, Mr. Deputy Manager.
I don't know if anyone's here from the Parks
Kids don't.
Department
So they-
to
I thought
confirm.
they supposed to be here.
Ms. Farrens has the information.
Department that's supposed to
Good evening, Mary Friends, Jean Ferrens, Housing Manager, City of North Miami. They're getting the minimum wage, 20 hours a week,
How much? That was-
$8, I believe.
I would like us, and this could all mean to need to be a different vote on a different night. I would like us to pay the kids more than the flat minimum wage, and 20 hours a week. I am a YOB intern product,
I am
class
too.
of 1986. Yeah,
Oh
I get
my
it. I'm
God.
old.
That's when they just
But-
started the
right.
program.
You should have paid us tour.
But you get the idea. Like we should make these YOB internships something that kids fight to get, that they die to get, that they want to get, because they're highly paid, because they're exposing them to real world job experience. I mean, if we want kids to just earn the minimum wage, they can just run down to a local fast food restaurant. So
Yes.
if there's a way that we can make these more enticing by either increasing the hours or increasing the salary, you'd get a yes vote from me to do that.
We would have liked to increase the hours. By increasing the hours or the minimum hourly wage, either of the two will be reduced, because we have a budget, unless it's gonna be supplemented by general funds.
Sure,
Well,
and
it was.
that might need that.
It was,
I apologize that I don't recall. If somebody wants to bring me up to speed with what we're actually doing, I'll
yeah.
What are we, we're in the midst of a YOB intern situation right now. What are we doing? What are we paying them?
Mr. Manager, you want to say something?
Yeah, very quickly. This year, we already supplemented the YOB program with general fund dollars. As we go through, and I'm trying to kind of stay away from it, but hearing your policy direction. We have this allocation that we need to do tonight based on our process, but via the budget process, and we had the workshop, and as we continue through the rest of the summer, we can look at general fund supplement that could balance this out. But we had, as far as this budget is concerned, we had the constraint. So if it's 10 people at 20 hours a week at $8 an hour, it was that was the formula that got us to the end. You know, so we can hear your policy direction, and we can try to work something
Okay.
out and proffer it back to the board.
All right.
Thank you. And then one last ask on the CBOs, when it comes time, and I know we generally do that in the winter time, December or thereabouts. Whenever we're ready to ask for those organizations to apply for said money.
They already
Yeah,
have.
here tonight.
It's
That's the next item.
Okay, then you're right on tune with me, because please let the council members know directly and specifically what your timeline is, because I've noticed that the organizations applying for the CBO money have dwindled in size. Like, we used to get dozens and dozens, and now we get the same 8 or 9, and we're just rotely giving out money to the same 8 or 9. I work in the nonprofit field, and when I hear about it, I usually hear about the CBO process like right when you're in the middle of doing it, like 2 days before the mandatory first meeting is being held, and we're not notifying the CBOs and the greater community exactly when things are happening and what the timeline is. So I want to be out in front of it more, so I can use my social media, so I can use my network of people I know in the nonprofit world and say, yeah, guys, you guys are doing work in this community. Why don't you go apply for it? Because usually they find out when it's too late. We used to be way out. We used to have a lot more money to give out, and then that shrunk too. So the interest shrunk when the money shrunk. But now that the money is getting back into the $100,000 range, I would like to see a room full of nonprofit organizations all begging, pleading, and scrapping for our dollars, so that there is real vitality in the process, and not just us giving it out to the same 8 people who did it the year before and the year before that.
Okay. Yeah, well, having said that, the only thing that I have to say is that we are pretty much failing at trying to get more HUD dollars. I know every year when we go to Washington, D.C., U.S. Conference of Mayors, we make we get like a 30-minute, meeting at the HUD Secretary's office. Our staff meets with theirs, and hardly there is any follow-up. And we have to be think ahead, of the game if really we want to make a dent. I mean, you look at our population, the demographics, the statistical data show, it's very clear a good percentage of our population is living below poverty level. And below poverty level is at different strata. People at 100% below, 200%, up to 400% below poverty level. So these people, they need the help. So at the federal level, we have to make a better effort. And I don't remember if it was the beginning of the year or the end of last year, we did talk about possibility of engaging lobbyists, at the federal level to see if we can. And I think HUD is a very important, sector where we should actually work on to see if we can bring more dollars. I understand a few years ago we used to get in the neighborhood of like 2 million and so forth, and now we're barely getting $800,000-900,000. So we just have to make we just have to make do. So that's pretty much all it is now. If staff has nothing else to add, I don't know if this is a public hearing item. No? No? Oh, we already did. I'm going backward. And I guess that's it. If no one else has any more opinion or comment or questions, we'll ask Mr. Clerk to call the vote.
May I have a motion to approve tab E as is?
Second.
Motion made by Vice Mayor Desiree to approve tab E as is. That motion was then seconded by Councilman Galvin. All in favor?
Aye.
Item passes. All opposed? Item passes with a 5-0 vote. Tab F, proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the award of fiscal year 2016 through 2017 Community Development Block Grant funds to not-for-profit community-based organizations, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you. For the record again, Tanya Wilson Sejour, the Community Planning and Development Department. This item, item F, is actually dovetailing from the previous item. This item specifically now looks at proposals for CDBG funding, specifically for the community-based organizations. This year we have a set aside of $80,000 that's being considered by community-based organizations. We have a listing in your packet of 12 organizations that are requesting funding assistance from the city. All 12 organizations are here tonight, which they wish to make a presentation before the council to pretty much request funding based on their specific needs. I just want to mention real quickly, just to remind the council in terms of the national objectives that are required by HUD from each proposer. The first one is that it must principally benefit low and moderate income persons. Second is that it must prevent or eliminate slum and blight. And the third one is to address an urgent need or problem in the community. So in terms of the criteria of looking at the proposals, it's important that they cover these three national objective areas. The council, I will leave it to the chair to decide how you want to see the
Mr. Attorney, and along with Mr. Manager, if you guys don't mind, I have a special request to my 4 colleagues. And I've gone over this list, and it was stated earlier that this is a recurring list. That's what we saw last year. And my understanding, they were the only ones who actually applied. And I looked at the split. I went over it a couple of times, and I agree with it. If the rest of the council, they've looked at the numbers, they agree, I would ask that we bypass the presentation phase, and we can maybe get public hearings and then go to a vote instead of going through 12 different presentations.
Mr. Mayor, I believe, I believe we selected these amounts. Ms. Sejour, correct? Then
No.
We did this, yeah.
No.
So,
Sorry, could you
you
give
remember
us
when
your-
we selected
No,
an
no,
amount
no,
of each organization? That wasn't this one?
No, that was for 15-16.
Oh.
We're
Yeah.
doing it somewhat
this year?
earlier this year to make sure
Oh.
that by the time the funds have been allocated by
I
HUD,
see.
they can
So-
start with the general operation.
So, okay, now here's one of the times it's a drawback to having been up here for 17 years, because it's starting to all blur together a little bit. But when did we last vote to give away CBO money prior to tonight?
November. Was it November, December of last year?
November.
It was between October and November of last
Yeah.
year.
Okay.
In the fall is usually when we do it.
Okay, so you bumped the process up this year to try to make the money available.
It's two reasons, and okay, so it's two reasons. One is to make sure that in terms of expediency and efficiency for the agencies that we're allocating money, that they have the funding available at the beginning of the next fiscal year. The next one is in terms of our audit process. One of the findings is that the city needs to be able to expedite the expenditure of these funds and not have it roll over into a subsequent fiscal year. So when you do it in the fall, you run the risk of it running over into the subsequent fiscal year.
And
So
by audit, you mean the Harvey Covington audit?
the
one
city's
that's-
general audit
Okay.
for how you spend your money.
So after we approve this tonight, assuming that we do, the next time we'll be doing this will be around about this time next year in
Correct.
2017. Okay,
Correct.
so then for next year,
Mm-hmm.
all due respect to the organizations that are here tonight, I want to see more competition for the money, and I would like to see there be better advertising in the nonprofit world that these funds are here. So for next year now, 2017, if you can let at least me know, I'm sure the other council members would like to know too, your timeline for these types of things. I can help communicate them to people and say, hey, get in, apply, be part of this process. Because it opened early, it closed early, now we're giving away the money early, and it's shooting right past me so fast, I didn't quite realize that we'd moved everything up. So, for next year.
Okay, so noted.
Okay, I did ask for, I made a request.
No, I know, that my only concern is, so these amount were not, these are not the same as November when we went through it.
These
But
are-
this is the same
But
organization.
they're the
Yeah.
same groups, and that's,
This
You
is
have
the exact
two
same group.
additional.
Huh?
You have two
Just two?
additional from the last time.
There may be a
Two new
couple.
ones that you didn't
The
have.
Kids in Touch, is it Kids in Touch Academy? That's,
but
And then-
that
and
speaks to my
wow.
point from a little bit earlier.
Oh,
I'm
Kids in
seeing the
Touch.
same groups repeating so often that now it's
That you
become
don't
like,
know.
I didn't even realize it was a different process because it's the same people we did last year. So that's what I'm speaking to. There are plenty of nonprofits out there doing work in this community. They just don't know that this is happening because we're not communicating it in their
yeah, for
community.
next time.
Yeah, for next year.
Why didn't Kids in Touch get anything? Number 12, the last one.
It was based on the way their packet was probably submitted and the panel graded them. It didn't have anything to do with us in the office. It's just the way the panel assessed their package that was submitted to us.
No, okay, so they probably didn't meet deadlines or something, I don't know.
The national objective and the way it was presented.
Okay.
I would like to just reallocate some of the funds. That's just me. I don't want a presentation, Mr. Mayor, but I'm looking at some of these, Xing for half, they get half, opposed to, you know, you got the,
Point of order before you do that. I'd like to excuse myself.
okay.
I've been asked to recuse
That's
myself because I am a director
North
of the
Miami Senior
North Miami Foundation of
Okay.
Foundation of Senior Citizens. So I'm going to step off the dais.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Through you, did the city attorney ask this? Mr. Mayor, through you, right. If she's not receiving personal remuneration for her job as a board of directors, is that a conflict?
What's that? What was the
The
question?
question I have is, if she's not receiving pay
Right.
in her role as a board member for the nonprofit, does that create a conflict?
Yes, in our opinion, it does. And we provide the councilwoman with a memo to explain why. But yes, that was
Okay.
our opinion.
Okay, so, I mean, for the interest of time, so do we agree, I mean, for my
No, we
request of not
I
having the
agree,
presentation?
Absolutely.
But you wanted to,
Some reallocation, some of them.
you wanted to make a, which
That
one?
could
You
be
wanna
fast.
make it
Oh,
quickly,
you-
because we have to
Well, we
do.
gotta take, huh? Well, I know about prosperity, social and community development, and if they ask for 10,000, I know they got 79.8.
They got 5.
Yeah, if that could at least, bumped up a little bit, because I know the folks that work that they, well, from one of these, that's what I
So you got, that's the
Councilman,
thing.
I
If you
would-
want to give more, you got to say who gets
I
less.
will, I certainly will, give me
Ju-
a minute.
ju-
Give me a
Just say
minute.
where you wanna get it
Okay,
from.
Russell Life Skills, take, well, you just said no. Well, you want me to? Okay, well, if you said no, well, you give me, an organization. It's not that I don't know the organization, and this is the problem. All of these make wonderful, you know, stuff within the community, but I'm talking about that touch residents as far as, well, all of them supposed to touch residents within our city, but, we got PAL again, that, the police department could give some money to, so maybe we could take it from there. No, but what I'm saying is, I know Chief Burgess usually would say that they would
We
supplement.
have Chief Eugene now.
Well, I know the chief that I have, but I'm just saying what a custom that we used to get. So that could be 1,000 from there and go through there from PAL. You got. I understand, but we supplement them not only in our budget, but also the police department uptake. I'm just saying, if you don't want.
Okay, so you are asking for one, you are asking
don't have
for
a
1,000
problem.
from
Okay, so
PAL.
1,000 from PAL to
Okay.
go to prosperity.
Okay,
The Florida immigration, 20, I wanted to give them more, but okay. No, I agree with that one. The expert resource and community, I don't know what they do. That's why the presentation would have been good, but, what does the expert resource do? Yeah, let me take it from them. Excuse me.
You want to take it from them
Yeah, from
instead
expert instead of
PAL?
PAL. Leave PAL as is. Because I don't know what they do. Expert Resource Community Center. So that could be down to 7.
They're here, Councilman Destiny, if you'd like to.
We are waiving the presentation
Yeah,
session.
we're
'cause-
just trying to work it out,
Yeah.
Mr. Jor. So PAL is as is in Sutla. Just want to give a extra 500. Can we take it from, well, PAL? So 500 from PAL to Sutla, and then I think we're good. I'm okay.
Okay. All right, now we're kind of going backward. Okay, you made your recommendations, which is
We good.
well taken. At this point of time, we'll open a public hearing. So if anyone in the audience want to opine or ask questions about this process, this is your time.
This is public. But they,
Now, this is only for comments, not for presentation, please. This is just public hearing, okay?
It's open to the public, though. You have to let anybody see it.
Yeah. But not
Judy
for
Brown,
presentation.
Sunkus Grove, 1100 Northwest 120 Terrace. My question is, and my concern is, with Councilman DeSime, the seniors in District 4, and I brought this issue up before concerning the foundation gets this money over and over and over. However, the seniors in District 4, seniors, somehow do not get services from this money. And it's a part of, they are part of our city just like everybody else. And it has been a bone of contention. When I brought it up before, I got calls and da-da-da-da-da, but I'm gonna bring it up again because it should be some type of transportation, a pickup point. If all the services are gonna be at the Griffin Center, then our seniors should have, we have the NOMI bus, some with parks or provide bus or what have you, to have our seniors to be a part of this, be able to get services from this money that's being spent by the city, that's allocated to this foundation.
But you have 130,000
Thank you.
for
yes,
the district.
yeah, that's what we did,
Ms. Brown.
Ms. Brown, because of the necessity, because the services that they provided is something that not only that we needed, we allocated 120,000. So please get with Derek. However, we need to maneuver the programs that we have at the Joe Celestine Center every Tuesday.
Every Wednesday.
Every Wednesday. Thank you. Then we need to see, maybe we could move that program around since we're coming up for next year. But we have 120,000 allocated just for that as a result. And that was one of the first initiative that I did.
This is for
District
the
4.
upcoming budget for this year.
Yeah,
No,
this is
year. You
this
already-
year right
you already
now.
wrote.
The program is on every Tuesday, every Wednesday.
I
Tomorrow.
know the program is on
Okay.
every Wednesday.
Perfect. So talk with Danielle, with the park director. I don't see him back there, and see what we could do from that money, to that whatever program need that you think. Christine is back there, to see what you could do to make it. If you have as a teacher, I know you have some. No, go ahead. I know you have some.
He took up some of my time.
I know I did.
He
Go
really
on.
did. But you remember we met
Yes.
in your office, and I had suggested programs for our seniors for that Wednesday.
Yes.
But what I'm talking about is the money that's for the foundation. Don't we give money to this foundation?
She's talking
Look at
about
that
number
program.
four.
Look at that.
Yes.
Okay, that money. Why is it that our seniors are not, with the quiltings and with all of, we used to have so many programs that our seniors would participate in.
That's
So I'm
Parks and Rec.
asking, because the Griffin
Parks
Center
and
seems
Rec.
to be the hub for the senior activity until you came aboard and put forth effort to have one day a week for our seniors over at Celestine Center. Our seniors were not getting anything from any services at all. As a matter of fact, well, I don't want to go.
No, I agree with you.
We've already talked about this before.
Ms.
Yes.
Brown, I
Yes,
mean,
sir.
if I may recommend something, it seems that getting information from North Miami Foundation and see when they meet and make sure, see to it that you meet with the board, find out what their activities are to see how the seniors from District 4, not just from District 4, but from the entire city of North Miami be included. in the actual process and benefits from whatever services that they are offering. So I think I think we have is it the chairman or the president?
Yeah, Debbie's here.
The director.
This is director. I've met
So
her.
yeah, so I mean, I will allow it, for a few minutes, and then the follow-up can be done, afterward. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Just please yield to them so that we can do this.
A lot of the services we provide is directly to the frail senior in the home. So the recreational and the educational services is not the thrust of what we do. I'd love to meet with
Ms.
Judy
Brown.
and other members of the community and find out how we can better impact different areas in the community. We base our services upon referral calls to the agency as to who might need home-delivered meals, transportation to the grocery store, social work services, volunteer support, homemaker. We can always do better,
No.
and we'd love to meet with the community about that.
I would suggest, Ms. Brown, and I could be at that meeting, and I do agree with you. We used to have ceramics over at Sunkist Grove, a lot of different activities, recreation activities that we don't have. So we do have some money. So I'm letting you know that right now. So you come up with some things. Maybe you could get with Christine. We could get with Park with Derek, and come up with some concrete activities that we could possibly to serve the seniors. The ceramic is something that I would like to see back, because the seniors used to go there almost every day at the West Side Community Center and do that and other different activities. Thank you. No, ain't nobody coming to no Griffin.
Okay, thank you very much. Please go ahead.
Mr. Mayor and Council, Danny Felton, Experts Resource Community Center. I just wanted to say that home ownership impacts the city at whole, and everything revolves around home ownership. Experts Resource Community Center, we provide foreclosure.
And you are from Prosperity and Social?
No, I'm from the Experts Resource Community
Oh,
Center.
experts, okay.
Our goal is to support, sustain, and create home ownership, in which we have supported the city of North Miami over the years, providing foreclosure assistance, down payment assistance, as well as homebuyer education courses to the low to moderate income individuals. So, I mean, in all due respect of cutting, the budget, it's only a fraction of, the cost that it takes to run a program like this, to provide the services to the residents of the city of North Miami. So I ask that you would please reconsider or look at that in regards to the support that we provide, and also, the addressing the needs of the community.
But yours was left intact. He didn't take anything from it.
I took 1,000 from it.
Oh, you did?
Unless I don't want to touch file, unless you want to take it from her.
I don't know, you're the one asking. I don't know. It's up to you. Hmm?
And let me say that the only reason that I supported Prosperity Social, because not only it's within the city, I know that the residents, when they have stuff at the library, I actually go. A lot of these folks are from our city. I know. So I'm not saying, I think all the organization do goods, and we don't have enough money, and it's up to us, and we need to get out there and lobby more, and that's what I've talked to the city manager as well as Ms. Sejour, for us to go to Washington and trying to see if we could increase that pot, because we certainly do need to increase that pot, so we could leave this as is. I was just trying to make the best that I can.
Okay, doke. Mike the Knife.
Mike McDermott, 840 Northeast 127th Street. Just a quick note that in reference to POW, and I know that that was one of the programs mentioned to be cut, but in reference to the national objectives of this money, we have 350 children, which is a lot of kids who are North Miami residents.
Mike,
No. Let him finish.
Yeah. Anyway, make a long story short, over half of them are from, more than half of these kids are from low income and very low income, according to the national standards, right here, kids in North Miami. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hello, how are you doing? My name is Vanessa Pierre. I am one of the two new organizations that are probably number 11 and 12. There are two new organizations,
Address?
Academics
Your
Academy, 1395 Northeast 131st Street.
Thank
Just to reiterate what Councilman Galvin said, this is kind of a repetitive thing with the organizations that have been applying over and over. And I mean, I believe I was given 4,500, but I mean, just to make it a bit more competitive and, you know, just to make the window a bit longer for new organizations to know. I'm pretty sure it's, you know, we've seen these organizations on and on and on again, so they can copy and paste their applications. You guys are familiar with them. But there are new organizations that, you know, are impacting the community. Right now, my summer camp is at a Spirit Ram charter. It's on 13300 Memorial Highway, and we actually are servicing about 100 students in the North Miami area. It's an academic-based summer camp, and it's very, very, very offered below every other organization. So I just want to let you all know that when you allocate your money, I'm pretty sure you are familiar with these organizations, but there are these new nonprofits that are trying to wiggle their way through with these veterans that are offering just about the same amount of rigor and, you know, a good substantial organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'm Fallacy DeRozier, Kids in Touch, number 12. I'm just here to say my application.
Your address,
was
please, for the record.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. 12501 Northwest 12th Avenue. I just wanted to come up here because my application was submitted late because Vanessa actually told me about this grant, and I only finished my application, no lie, less than a week. I actually had like 3 days to complete it. So I actually appreciate the opportunity to be up here, but next year I'll definitely be prepared to explain everything that I'm doing within the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public hearing is now closed. The only thing that I have to say is just.
Somehow I always get that. William, if I may?
Go ahead, go ahead.
I was up, you were just looking down. William Prevotel, 11950 North Bay Shore Drive. As I said at the Planning Commission meeting, which I attended from the audience, I had heard these presentations from these the various good groups that are here tonight, as well as others over the many years, probably a dozen years or so. And we always get down to the point where we listen to this very earnestly, and we look at what the numbers are and propose changing them and modifying them and whatever, and we always regret not having the money. And I'd like to change the dynamic, or propose to change the dynamic tonight. Just in the last couple weeks, we see things happening in the Senate, and somebody stands up and says, enough of these moments of silence. I've had enough of this. We need to do something. Councilman Galvin, you said, you know, we want to have more competition and more people involved. What I see is less groups coming because I don't think it's even worth their time and energy to try to fight over the measly amount of money that is offered by our city. And it is. It's rather pitiful. We went over financials today, and if I'm not mistaken, this amounts to not 10% or 1% of the budget, but maybe 0.1%. And we're talking about people that represent the community, where money would be spent in the community, who do some of the best work in the community. And I know there's a benchmark, and maybe there are a couple you can dismiss the bottom 10% or so, but what better investment do we have than to put money towards this? They're not going away and spending it, you know, in Scotland or someplace like that on an outing. They're spending it here for people that probably need it the most. Why is it that we're so limited? Why do we always go through this exercise and this sort of charade and come up so short on the money? Our council has spent and lost out on sometimes millions and sometimes tens of millions and sometimes, in one case, $100 million that were mismanaged. Can't we do something a little better than what we have been doing, and to raise the bar and to get a little bit more energy and to show a little bit more acknowledgement, a little bit more thanks for these groups? Really appreciate your consideration in upping the ante, and if possible, double it tonight. Just double it, and forget the conversation.
Mr. Mayor, may I have the privilege of answering that question that Mr. Prevotel's proposed? This money comes directly to us from the United States federal government. We are only able to expend tonight what they've given us to expend. So the idea of increasing it is, I'm not trying to have a debate.
No.
They've given us the $80,000. We can only spend the $80,000. We can't do anything different from that
And we're not
tonight
allowed to supplement from general
because
fund at
that-
all.
But that would be a totally different hearing, but you asked why we're not doubling.
No.
Based on the size of our community, we get a certain percentage of money from the feds. I wish it were back up into the $150,000 range. It is tonight, $80,000.
I'm not arguing with what's being sent to us, and I say use it. I'm saying let's match it
just-
one for one then. Let's match it with general funds one for one.
We can't do that tonight. That's not what's advertised. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Natasha Thomas, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer for the Irving Thomas Elite Basketball Academy, 5645 Coral Ridge Drive, Coral Springs, Florida. And I just have a small comment. The last time we went through this process, the Police Athletic League, who we partner with, their funding was changed, and their funding came from another source. And the funding that they were allocated the last process was allocated through was allocated to other organizations so that they could receive more funding. So I'm just asking that I don't know if the city of North Miami could, fund PAL in another from another account so that we could receive more funding across the board. That's the way it was done last year. So I just wanted to make that comment. Thank you.
We remembered.
Yeah, but we gave it back to them.
Yeah.
And Mr. McDermott, I said we could take whatever that we're taking from them and supplement the police department, because that, we could do that from our general fund. That's what I said. So you don't think we're just taking their money and give it away like that?
We can avoid. Mike, we can't continue because we have to go on.
Because other people have gotten up and commented on
Well,
it. I just think it's fair to be able to, rebut. I don't think that the police department, I don't think anywhere in the police department budget is there money that's been allocated to supplement the CDGB money that we may be losing. And
okay, well, Mr. McDermott, we all here, we do care about PAL. That you do know. And we are not going to make any emotional decision based on something that is stated here. So PAL is ours. We work in tandem with you, and you know our hearts, and that we shall continue to do. So, but the only thing that I must ask Mr. Manager, please, to bypass all these discussions going back and forth, had we been involved from the inception of the process, that way our decision would have been made after meeting with staff. We will give little ideas, okay, give 500 here, 1,000 here, 2,000 there. By the time we get here, we know what the list is and how decision would have been made, and this would take only like about 5 minutes, if that. Okay, so please engage us next time, and that's what I've been asking from the get-go.
Through the mayor, I absolutely will make sure staff engages more, from advertisement all the way through the process.
Not just advertisement,
but all the way
for
through.
them to meet with us separately
Right.
and ask
Go
for
through
our
it.
opinion.
But I will put on the record that regulations require this RFP process to proceed in a certain manner. So I'm just
Without us being involved?
without your involvement, with a selection committee, with a grading. So that's what we did. And then now that we bring it to you as a council, now you can make some of those other decisions.
Okay,
but
well,
we'll make an effort as we brief to get your feedback in the process.
Okay. All right. If there is no more comment from the dais, then we'll go for a vote.
I'll make a motion to.
No, you didn't. You wanted to say no.
I'm trying to go home. He said motion to adjourn.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a motion to accept the expenditures as amended by Councilman DeSume a few minutes ago?
Second.
I have a motion made by Councilman Galvin to approve tab F with the stated amendment. Amendment number 1,000, removed from expert resource community session to prosperity, social, and community development group. That was the first amendment. The second amendment is $500 from PAL to St. Law. With those amendments, that motion was made with those amendments. St. Law. Try to make fun of me for not speaking. You see that? And I have a second by Vice Mayor Desume. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Item passes with a 4-0 vote as Councilwoman Keys recused herself. Tab G.
Unless you want to continue without her, somebody needs to call her in.
Making fun of me, man. I say it with an accent. I say it with an accent. No,
What's next?
Tu vas aller au centre là? No, this is a plat. No, we are tab G.
What is tab G? Still Tanya?
Tab G is Tanya. Yeah.
It's a plan.
But I thought we voted on this before, but
No, we
I'm having a deja vu moment tonight. No? I've seen Mr. Clerk, go ahead.
Tab G. Proposed resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of North Miami, Florida, approving the attached waiver of plate or plat for the approximately 18,234 square feet parcel located at 821 Northeast 144th Street, North Miami, Florida 33161, with Miami-Dade folio number 06-2219-006-0380 in accordance with Article 3, Division 8, Section 3-802 of the City of North Miami Code of Ordinances, Land Development Regulations, and Chapter 28, Section 28-4.1 of the Miami-Dade County Code of Ordinances in order to subdivide said parcel into two individually plated single-family lots measuring 66 feet by 138 feet each, providing for an effective date and for all other purposes.
Thank you for the record again, Tanya Wilson Sejour with Community Planning and Development. This item is actually a continued item. It came before City Council in May, and the item was continued so the applicant could have an opportunity to rectify certain issues that were raised by Mayor and Council. So I'll read the recommendation into the record again, that staff is recommending adoption of the proposed resolution approving with conditions the waiver of plat to subdivide the property located at 821 Northeast 144th Street into two individually platted single-family lots. The way that the process works per the code, once the waiver of plat itself is approved here at the local level, it has to be transmitted to Miami-Dade County for final approval. So what the applicant is asking for tonight is permission to be able to move that request forward so they can obtain final approval by the county. I know the applicant and his attorney are here and wish to make a presentation at this time, if the mayor and council will hear them.
Thank you very much. And before I forget, I want to just recognize the presence of former Mayor Kevin Burns in the audience. I do not see any other formerly elected officials. So.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. George Lott at 8950 Southwest 74th Court, Suite 1711. I represent the owner of the property, SMS Distribution, who they wish to build two brand new family homes on this property, and therefore the request for waiver of plat. This was heard on April the 26th, at which time it was tabled because of some concerns of the council. Those concerns have been addressed. Specifically, a security fence has been constructed around the property. The property's been cleaned, grass cut, and part of the structure has been stabilized in consultation with building. So at this point, unless there are specific questions that the council would like me to address, we ask that the council approve the request as recommended by staff.
Thank you.